Welcome to Catch and Go. In today's title, we're going to do part 1 of the title called Earth's Final Judgment. You're beginning to see that God is putting the whole world on notice, that God is sending final warnings, not only to civilization, but also especially to those that are lukewarm, wax cold, and the backslider. God is simply saying, time has run out, but it's in that mercy of His. God is so merciful that He's giving you enough time to turn and to repent. In this title called God's Final Judgment, I believe with all of my heart that in the coming weeks and in the coming months, you're going to see God begin to allow things to happen so that He can speed up things and accelerate things swiftly, wrap things up. Just the other day, they held not only the UN summit, and also days before that, we saw that Pope Francis went around to different parts of the world in different nations, not only promoting a one world religion, a one world government, and understanding that you and I need to know that they will establish this thing called a new world order. You see, not only that, but the Lord just said to me, climate change. And the grace of God said to me, the word, the sun. And so I want to say to you is this, that in this title called Earth's Final Judgment, I sincerely believe with all of my heart that God will literally and deliberately, you heard me use that word, deliberately allow them to succeed and achieve their goals. And then God is going to remove the saints and the believers, and then judgment begins. But remember, judgment begins in the house of God. As soon as we are raptured, we will be standing at the judgment seat. But in this title, God's Earth's Final Judgment, I want you to understand that there are major things that are going to happen, including you're going to see the coming assassination. Not only that, major earthquakes and blackouts. And you see that there is going to be a biochemical warfare and the battle for the biometric chip. I have said over and over that you need to understand that the glory of God is saying that we're going to see global war and war break out in different parts of the world. The problem is that today civilization is just no different than the days of Noah and the days of Lot. But God is saying that judgment is about to begin. Not only the wrath of God, and that He will spare the saints, but in this earth's final judgment, everything simply turns dark. It will be a moment of darkness. Not only a moment of darkness, but the Lord said a moment of tribulation, a moment of persecution, a moment of incarceration, and a moment where you and I know there's coming a thing called the stripping point and the tipping point. What do I mean by the stripping point? They're going to do their best, not only to intimidate you, to put fear in you. But remember, I spoke from Revelation chapter 3. Not only from Revelation chapter 3, but I spoke from 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12, 13, and 14. I also mentioned and talked to you concerning Revelation 3:10. But also from Revelation 3:5, the grace of God is simply saying to tell you and to tell all of the world and all of civilization that the earth is on its last breath. Civilization is got not only 7 years left, but the glory of God is sounding the alarm that there is going to be tribulations and earthquakes. And the Lord said, perplexed moments on the earth. Look what the Lord said. He said, perplexed moments on the earth like never seen before. Hunger and starvation in the rider on that horse from Revelation chapter 6. And let me make something very clear, that we all know that the Antichrist, for the first 3.5 years, there are going to be somewhat peace on the earth. But I'm going to say this. The Lord just said something to me very powerful. Are you ready? And you need to circle and write this down. The Lord said that he's about to rattle the world. My goodness, you ought to write that down. Circle those words. God is sending warnings, and he just said, I want you to tell them that I'm about to rattle the world. What does God mean that he's about to rattle the world? God is about to release not only his wrath, but the glory of God is showing me some angelicals. And I'm seeing this right now in the realm of the spirit. And God is simply saying that he's going to give the green light to those angels to release God's wrath. And they're going to start to release God's wrath. And let me say this. As soon as the church is raptured, hell breaks loose on the earth. You may say, you just finished saying that the first 3.5 years is all quiet and peaceful on the earth. But I did say there's still going to be turbulence. Not only turbulence, but the grace of God said fire and brimstone and hell, and judgment and earthquake and pestilence and dryness and drought. And the Lord said something to me so powerful. Look what the Lord said. I want you to listen carefully. He said he's about to rattle the world, and then right now he said that soon he's about to release the 4 fallen angelical beings that are in the Euphrates River. The Lord said, and not only be released, and those chains are going to come off, and they're going to be released from that place of darkness, that dark place where they're down below the Euphrates. But you need to remember these 2 PowerPoint things that God has spoken, these 2 rhema words. God said he's about to rattle the world, and he's about to release the 4 angelicals that are down in the Euphrates River, and hell is going to break loose. And I have said over and over that we are technically in the end of civilization. The final 7 years of civilization in humanity. And in this title, part 1 of the earth's final judgment, God is sounding the alarm very clear that he's about to give the green light not only to the 3 angels, and not only to the 3 angels, all right, that will declare his word. And then remember, there's a 4th angel. But the glory of God is saying that he is also going to give the green light to release those 4 angels that are down in the Euphrates River. And the Lord said, and the one, watch what he said. My goodness, this is the 3rd thing that he said. And he said, and the one that will come out of the bottomless pit, out of the sea. You need to understand that if I was you, I seriously would go listen to my title called Prepared. Go listen to my title called Worthy. And if I was you, I go back and I run back to my first love. I go back to being this God-fearing man and God-fearing woman, and understanding that the Lord said just now and spoke again for the 4th time. He said the narrow gate. There are very few that find the narrow gate. He said these words. When I went like this and I said very few will find the narrow gate, he said, and the rest will remain standing. Look what the Lord said. My goodness. The Lord is speaking so powerful. This whole message has been shifted to a whole different level. Tell somebody it's been shifted to a whole different level. The grace of God said he's going to rattle the world. He's going to give the green light to and release those 4 fallen angelical beings down in the Euphrates. the grace of God is putting the whole world on notice that he also said several other things in this telecast that simply not only will shake the daylights out of civilization, but the Lord is making it very clear that in this title, Earth's Final Judgment, the grace of God is simply saying that in the narrow gate, only a few find it, and he said, the rest will remain standing. And I have said that if you don't turn, and if you don't quickly turn, and if you don't understand Romans 13:11, if you don't get a hold of Mark 13:37, if you don't get a hold of Luke 21:36, you're going to find yourself still standing on earth, because that's what God said. And in the title, prepare, and in the title, worthy, and in many other titles, God said, and there will be millions standing on the earth. And remember, I have said, that is the moment of a loud weeping moment on the face of the earth, seen and heard like never before, because those individuals and those people, those men and women, those fathers and mothers that are left behind, or any child or any teenager or any pastor or any evangelist or apostle, prophet or teacher, anyone that is left behind, you need to understand that you need to prepare, but also for the rise of the Mahdi and the Islamic mystique. The glory of God is sounding the alarm, and he's sending very stern warning in this part 1 of the title, the earth in its final judgment, and the grace of God saying what he just said. He also said that mountains will move from its original place, and the Lord said another thing, and earthquakes will become a daily thing. And I have said that sometime about 4 or 5 months ago. I said that what you're going to see is periodically earthquakes taking place and happening around the world and on the earth, because I have said the earth is on its last breath. God is simply sounding the alarm. And also he just said to me, in the rivers and lake drying up, and the rivers, God saying, turning into blood. God is not only warning all of civilization, he is saying it's going to get dark. It's going to not only get dark, you're going to see the Antichrist any moment, and you're going to see the church be raptured. This title called Earth's Final Judgment. I wanted you to understand one thing, that whatever God is creating, whatever God worked for 6 days, whatever God put together, no one can add and no one can take. And that is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11 to 22. And also remember from 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4, if God didn't spare the angels and send them straight to hell, listen to what I'm saying, you're no different than those angels. Because if God finds you to where you're disobedient and you have rebelled and you have drifted away and you have gone lukewarm and cold and you're living in sin, God simply is saying to you that just as he sent those 1/3 of those angelical into hell, if you don't turn and repent and ask God for forgiveness, you're going to find yourself in a little dark place where there is gnashing of teeth, just like where those 4 fallen angelical beings that are down below the Euphrates River, it's dark. They're in chain. They're screaming and yelling, wanting to be let out. And then not only there is hell, but also remember the story between Lazarus and also the rich man. And the rich man said, can you just dip your finger here? And Lazarus said, there is a difference between where you're at and where I am. He was standing in paradise and that rich man was standing in hell. I want to make that very clear that God is saying very loud and clear that he's about to rattle the world. I leave it here in part 1 of the title called Earth's Final Judgment. May the Lord so richly bless you. Remember to click like, share, subscribe, hit on the bell to receive our latest telecast. And remember, I catch you on my next telecast of Catch and Go. God bless.